Well, good afternoon. This is Sue Drabick, CEO of Morningstar Living, with Sandy Massetti, who is our Chief Operating Officer. So Sandy and I are here today together and normally we would be wearing our masks. I have to point out that we have taken them off for this video because otherwise our voices are very muffled. But, and neither of us look particularly good in masks either, I have to say, because you can't see our smiles. But we would like to send a big smile and a big thank you and words of appreciation to our nursing staff here that work at Moravian Hall Square specifically, and Heritage Village, but most of the nurses, of course, work on this campus. When we were just talking before the video started about the fact that nurses to us are RNs, LPNs, med techs, CNAs, and PCAs. It's people who are our certified and licensed personnel in this building who, without you, we could not operate. Even when there's not a pandemic, we are totally dependent on our nursing crew, nursing staff, and particularly through the pandemic. It's tested all of us, and I know it's tested all of you. We don't get to see you the way we normally would because we're really not supposed to be visiting in the care areas. We who go home every day, and who knows what we may be exposed to, and we don't want to expose others. But Sandy and I have been talking about honestly, some of the traits, besides a great sense of humor, that nurses have to have every single day of your working lives. We were talking about some of the traits that we think our staff here have. And we came up with a list of 25 things, and we're not going to go through all of them, we'll spare you. But the point really is to say, and I came up with my top 5, Sandy, maybe you did too, but one of my top qualities of nurses is I think they're very brave. Even when there's not a pandemic, I think it takes a lot of courage to be a nurse because you go into situations every day when you have no idea what's going to happen, right? And the other one that I think of right away, I mean, nurses are hopeful people. I think you almost have to be, because when you're dealing with sickness and illness, and sometimes it's terminal, other times people do recover and go home, but I think nurses bring people a lot of hope.
That's right.
And that's, if I was a patient, and the times that I have been a patient, I've always admired the nurses that will, have that kind of hopeful spirit about them. And so those are qualities that I know I look for the most when I'm looking at a nurse. There's selfless is the other one.
Yes, that's the one I had, selflessness, and especially in light of the most recent couple months, when some of us were running away to some extent, you were running toward.
Right.
And I think that kind of commitment, that selflessness, that devotion and dependability, we just can't say enough about how we not only appreciate that, but that it did not go unnoticed. It didn't go unnoticed all year long, but especially over the last couple of months. Your bravery and your courage was just something that really touched me, and probably something I'll never forget. Being in healthcare, both of us for over 40 years, never having to face a pandemic, always working with nurses, and yet this time around really seeing the bravery and the courage that all of you exhibited to protect us.
It's a war, right? We're all fighting a war that we had no idea was going to happen. It happened in March, and people stepped up. And we all know people that are still fearful. It doesn't mean nurses aren't fearful.
No.
They overcome it. And there are a lot of employees. Monica Bustamante is our IT person. She's taking this video right now. She's another one, and her staff. They've had to work through this. And we have all kinds of staff in other departments as well. And we don't mean to say that they're not courageous too, but when you're a nurse, you're close to a patient or resident every day. You still have to provide care, and touching, and you know, there's no such thing as social distancing
Right.
when you're in the nursing home
We were
or
just talking
in the
about
hospital.
that this morning, saying
Right.
you can't be 6 feet away from your residents, right? You have to be right there with them, and so you don't have the luxury of that distance. And so, you know, when I think about all of you, I think, you know, that front line, the heroes, the heroines, whatever, that's you, that's all of you.
Yep. And we want to thank you for that, and we will be thanking you, we hope, throughout the next year in various ways, with certainly kindness, we hope, and thoughtfulness, and some gifts and things like that. But there's nothing like saying that to you one-on-one or on a video. Right now, a video is one of the solutions that we've come up with, is for you to celebrate. Tomorrow is Florence Nightingale's birthday, and she's one of the epitomes, I guess, or she epitomizes being a nurse and giving to others selflessly. And we know that a lot of you, or all of you, for the last several weeks have done that here and throughout the year, to even come to work some days when you probably don't really feel good or don't want to come. You're there because, and I know a lot of people have said to me through the years, you know, we come because we care about the residents. We care about our team members too, but mostly people show up day after day because they don't want to let residents down, and they become your family. You know, we know that that's true.
It's true. You know, another word for me is resilience. The fact that some of you, you know, were unfortunate in getting COVID, but you came back. Then you came back after you recovered. I mean, that's that resiliency. And you're also the visitors right now for our residents that don't have visitors. And so you have another layer of responsibility, which is being the love, the family that they don't have right now. And without you, I think many of you are their family, but without you, it would even be harder for our residents. So we really appreciate that also.
And you figure they help pick out their clothing, and they do their nails and their hair. I could use them because I'm looking a little ragged these days, but I know our residents in the nursing home and personal care are so thankful that they have all of you to take care of them, and we're thankful too. We wanted to send you that message.
Yes.
Well, we think that sometimes humor is the best medicine, so this is what Sue Drabick and Sandy Massetti would look like if we were nurses. And I would have to imagine that it's a pretty scary look, but you know, and if I were interviewing us, if I were Maricel or Wendy, I don't think I would hire us. But we want you to know that we're prepared in an emergency. We have kits. We have our nursing kits. And Sandy has always been wanting to try to give me an injection.
And so I'm going to do this right now.
A certain part of my body.
What I would always want to do is give our CEO a shot.
Yeah, boy, that hurt. Now, I've always wondered if you really had a brain. So let me look and see if there does seem to be some kind of matter there. So, brain matter. I have my little spit cup, if that's what this is called. I also have a thermometer.
And we can certainly look in each other's throats to see if we're healthy. And
Is that what that's for?
I don't know if this is what that is for.
Okay, so the fact is that neither one of us have worked as nurses for over 30 years. And so we had to find other occupations of someone that would hire us at least. So we've been working in administration, so we're a little rusty on some of our nursing skills, But I know when I go to the doctor, he usually checks my heart rate.
Mhm.
So I was gonna see, I guess I'm supposed to do this from the front.
See if I have a heart.
See if you have a heart. Yep, I do hear that. It's beating very rapidly. So I can tell that maybe you're nervous about getting this job.
That's right, I've applied to about 10 other places, and for some reason I keep getting rejected. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. I have all the equipment I need. They wouldn't even have to give me anything that the organization would have to pay for. So we'll have to hope that maybe by the time we turn 70, that somebody will hire us.
Yes.
But I want to know that at Morning Star, Moravian Hall Square, if you ever need us to work as nurses,
We're there for you.
we are there for you. We're
Okay.
ready to be just as good as the nurses that they must have working there now. They must do a terrific
Yeah.
job because you know they're 5-star at Moravian. That's
right.
why I want to work there.
That's right, me too. I've heard so much about the
Yeah.
place. And
But,
I thought,
you know,
I saved the best for last in terms of my interviews. So I just hope, just wish us the best, okay? So
you know,
that we can
and
get these
Bryn,
jobs.
you know, Bryn Lee, she's their HR person here.
She'll
She
hire
just
us.
keeps telling me they don't need any nurses. I know that probably isn't true, but we'll keep trying, and you guys keep up the good work too at your end. See you soon.